Hello everyone, this is Gorax. In today's video, we're going over the best build and team setup for Lynn in Duet Night Abyss. This guide focuses only what community currently regard as best in-slot gear and setups. If you don't have them, don't worry, you can always experiment based on your available characters and gear, and Lynn will carry you through the current endgame, as Immersive Theatre has elemental affinity that boosts her damage by 400%, so if you're stuck there, you will need to watch this video and this guide will help you to get unstuck. Alright, let's get started. When it comes to Lynn, we will mostly be using Gunpowder Rivalry. This will demolish the enemies, clearing the whole battlefield. But to do that, we need a higher ground, meaning we'll need to do helix jump into the air and then start shooting. So this way we can target the biggest area possible and clearing the whole battlefield. If you want to maximize her damage, you will invest into introns, and for me to get to intron 6, it took me like 130 secret letters. So it is possible, it just takes a lot of time. The reason why the intron 6 is so good is during our Gunpowder Rivalry, we will be inflicting laceration, which otherwise can be only applied by using the second skill, Deadly Blossom. So with getting her into the intron 6, we're avoiding the necessity of using that skill, so we can focus just on our ultimate. Now let's go over the demon wedges that we need, and a few builds that you will notice, and the community have tested multiple wedges as well, and the outcomes are quite surprising, especially the Prime Handdown. The Prime Handdown is the wedge that reduces our skill damage by 50%. When it comes to Lynn, we want to focus on skill damage. So why we are reducing it? Well, because when attacking with a weapon, we will deal 18% additional damage of the same element. This actually does out damage the skill damage. This is very important. However, if you don't have that, or you want to try another build, you can go with the Prime Morale, and it is quite good as well. However, the most important wedge would be Devouring Wildfire. It increased the skill damage. Also, when the Pyro character deals damage, we gain 1 stack that increases attack by 1%, and it can stack 120 times. This is 120% attack increase, which is amazing, as we will be doing damage constantly during our ultimate. Another crucial wedge would be the Midnight Sun. It increases the Pyro attack, increases skill damage, and skill duration. If you have a look in Gunpowder Rivalry and go to attribute details, you'll notice that if we want to increase the shooting damage, we need to increase skill damage. If we want to reduce the sanity cost per second, we need to either use skill efficiency or skill duration. We don't really worry about the initial sanity cost, as this is rather low. It's the upkeep that we need to deal with. Range is okay-ish, we don't need to increase it. If we want to increase it, we will need to sacrifice damage. This is why we focus on skill damage and either duration of or efficiency, depending which wedges you have. Going back to the wedges, next priority would be Duel. Increased damage dealt by 24% when facing less than 2 enemies within 20 meters range. This is what's gonna help you melt down the bosses. Lastly, Pure Damage will have Volition. This increases skill damage by 24%. It's a rare one, easy to get, easy to max out, and helps you with maintaining your tolerance. Now, ideally, the rest of your wedges should be Blaze Eternity, as if you look at this, it grants you 48 attack and skill duration 18%. If you don't have the Eternity one, you can go for Inspo, which grants you the same amount of attack but lower skill efficiency. So as you can see, if you go for Eternity and you can stack multiple of them, if you got them, you will have more skill duration rather than efficiency, and we know that sanity maintenance is based on both of them. So if you can get higher number, which is skill duration, go for it, but you'll need to farm Blaze Eternity. And to help you out with the tolerance, make sure you do adjust at least 4 of those wedges. You don't need to go for more because you will start to eventually upgrade them to legendary powers, which will reduce the cost of the wedge. When it comes to the feathered wedge, I go for the extra dodge attempt. These are currently the best in slot wedges for Lynn. Now remember, you can try and play with something else, make it fun, make it your own build. This is just a template to help you start it. Now, if you get to the end game and you're focusing on upgrading these wedges to the legendary, you should have a priority of doing the Devouring Wildfire first and then Duel, as this will give you the most damage. When it comes to melee weapon or even a range weapon, we're looking at the stats of the weapon. We don't really care what they do otherwise, as we will not be using them. We will be using our ultimate. This is why Wainwrath is one of the best weapons for that, as it gives you static skill damage increased by 24%. When it comes to the demon wedges, we don't really care about them, but you can focus on some mobility wedges that will help you during the clearing of the mobs, etc. And if for some reason you don't have Wainwrath yet, as he will be used in almost all the builds in current meta, you could go for something like that increases skill duration, but really, just go and get Wainwrath. And our range weapons will follow the same ideology. We don't need to have high level of these weapons. All we care about is the static skill increase, skill damage increase. In our case, as you can see, Excrucidio does that. So this is the weapon that I went for. There are a few other weapons that are highly valued, like Blue Current Pulse. It increases skill duration by 15%. However, it will not give you as much damage output as that weapon here. And when it comes to the wedges, once again, they don't really matter that much. We will focus on basically anything that can increase multi-shot and projectile speed and attack. Those will basically be what we'll use, as we will not be using the range weapon. We'll be using our resonance weapon. And that brings me to the resonance weapon wedges. So these is the demon wedges that we use for our Hansel and Gretel. And in here, we can focus on attack speed, trigger probability if you're not using a main character as your support. And if you are using him as your support, you can go for something like penetration, then fold over, which will increase the multi-shot, and impetus that will increase our attack. If you want to upgrade them to the orange one, the legendary rarity, go with celerity first and then with fold over. If you don't know where to get these demon wedges, go to the demon wedges display and look at the range consonance weapon, where you will see where you can obtain them. So you're looking for celerity. It's available from the Maze shop, and if you farm this, you can farm it infinitely. You can easily get it to the legendary quality as well. But as we know, our main character has 2 AI companions that are supposed to fill in the gaps. And there is kind of a tier list for the best supports when it comes to Lynn, so I'll go over them quickly. So the best one by far is our main character. So when it comes to his skills, he has multiple support skills. His ultimate will increase the weapon damage for himself and the allies. His passive will also increase our trigger probability and eventually weapon damage. Daphne is another companion that is worth bringing. On top of her healing, she also gives us extra anemo damage bonus and crit chance buff. Although we're not building with crit rate or crit damage, it's still useful, Mainly we bring her for the extra sustain that might be necessary for different stages of the immersive theater. But there are obviously alternatives such as Truffle, who grants damage buff, or Margie, who provides us with 2 strong passive attack increase buffs. As you can see, the passive will increase it by 45% and then 40% respectively, and this is the option I went for. When it comes to Demon Wedges on our supports, we want one of them to have Prime Serenity and the other one Prime Uplift, which will increase the damage done. Other than that, we're looking at defensive stats and skill duration increase, as this will increase the duration of the buffs they are granting. Same for the weapons, we'll be focusing on skill duration, and when it comes to the weapon wedges, we don't really need anything except maybe attack speed, as this will allow them to hit more often and reducing the buffs that the enemies got, or basically increasing their performance slightly. And the same for the range weapons, skill duration is the mandatory skill to focus on. And if you follow this guide, you will make a Lynn that is a beast, Lynn that can clear high levels of the immersive theater. I'm currently at Act 9, only Sybil is standing in my way to go through, and obviously clearing this will help you get extra copies of Psych, so definitely focus on Lynn early on, and next time when we have different rotation in the immersive theater, we can focus on other heroes. So that's it for the Lynn build and her team. The setup will make your Lynn incredibly efficient in both single target and AoE content, especially when paired with the right supports. If you found this guide helpful, drop a like, subscribe, and join my Discord. We've got giveaways, discussion, and more Duet Night Abyss content coming once I get better knowledge of other characters, as well as I've focused on basically going through the immersive theater, as this is currently the hardest content in the game. Once again, thank you all for watching. Stay safe. Bye.